Have you ever felt like something was missing? Like an unshakable sense that there's more to life than what we see? More than our routines, our struggles, our fleeting moments of joy? Maybe you felt it in the quiet hours of the night, or in the middle of a crowded room, a whisper in your mind. Is this all there is? Now imagine a man who had everything, wealth beyond measure, a life of luxury, power, prestige, even a future carved in gold. He was born to rule, destined for greatness in the eyes of the world, and yet, something stirred inside him, a question, a truth, a longing that no comfort, no pleasure, no possession could silence. One night, he made a choice that defied everything he had been taught. He walked away, left behind his palace, his titles, his family, not out of selfishness, not out of recklessness, but because he saw something deeper, something that would change not just his life, but the course of human history. This is not just a story from the past. It is the story of all of us, the story of being human, because suffering is universal. It doesn't matter where you were born, how much money you have, or what you've accomplished. At some point, you have felt pain, you have faced loss, you have struggled with the weight of existence itself. And just like the prince who became the Buddha, you have asked, why? Why do we suffer? Why does happiness slip through our fingers like sand? And most importantly, is there a way out? The Buddha's journey was not about blind faith or supernatural miracles. It was about something real, something you can see, test, and experience for yourself. A path, a way to break free from suffering, not by running from it, but by understanding it, by seeing reality as it truly is. And that's what we're here to explore today. Not just the story of the Buddha, but the truth behind it. The wisdom that has guided millions for over 2,500 years. The insights that can transform the way you see yourself, your struggles, and the world around you. Because in the end, Buddhism is not just about history or philosophy. It's about you. It's about the questions you ask in the quiet moments. The search for meaning that has been with you your entire life. The possibility that maybe, just maybe, there is another way to live. A way of clarity, peace, and true freedom. So, if you're ready, let's begin this journey together. Because what you're about to hear might change everything. Life is suffering. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? Almost unfair. But before you turn away from this idea, take a moment to truly consider it. Look around you. Look at your own life. Have you ever lost something you loved? A person, a dream, a moment of happiness that you thought would last forever? Have you ever felt the weight of disappointment when things didn't go the way you planned? That quiet ache of loneliness, even when surrounded by people. Suffering is not just physical pain. It's deeper than that. It's the restless craving for more, the nagging sense that something is missing, even when everything seems fine on the surface. It's the anxiety of holding on to what we have, knowing that nothing lasts forever. The Buddha called this dukkha, the first noble truth, the inescapable fact that suffering is woven into the fabric of human existence. It's not something that happens to some people. It happens to all of us, rich or poor, young or old, powerful or powerless. No one is exempt. And yet, we spend our lives running from this truth. We distract ourselves. We chase happiness in all the wrong places, believing that if we just had more money, more success, more love, we would finally be at peace. But no matter how much we get, it's never enough. There's always another goal, another desire, another fear waiting just around the corner. But here's the real question. If life is suffering, does that mean we are doomed to be unhappy? The Buddha's answer was simple, yet profound. No. Suffering is not a punishment, and it's not a dead end. It's a doorway, a starting point. Because once we truly understand dukkha, not just as an idea, but as a direct experience, we can begin to free ourselves from it. This is where the path begins. Not in denial, not in blind optimism, but in seeing reality as it truly is. Because only by facing suffering can we move beyond it. And that's what we'll explore today. Not just the problem, but the solution. Not just the suffering, but the way out. Because Buddhism isn't about escaping life. It's about understanding it so deeply that suffering no longer has power over us. And that understanding could change everything. Most people believe that suffering comes from the outside world, bad luck, bad choices, or bad people. When life doesn't go our way, we point to external causes. We blame circumstances, fate, or even other people for our pain. But the Buddha realized something much deeper, something that would change the way we see suffering forever. Suffering doesn't come from out there, it comes from within us. Think about it. What drives us every day? Desire. We crave pleasure. We chase success. We long for love, power, recognition. We cling to our identity, our beliefs, and our emotions, even when they cause us pain. We tell ourselves that if we could just get that one thing, more money, the perfect relationship, the dream job, then we'd finally be happy. But here's the problem. Nothing lasts. That moment of happiness, it fades. That success, it's never enough. The people we love, they change, they leave, or one day they're gone. And yet, we keep grasping. We keep holding on, desperately trying to make the impermanent permanent. That is where suffering is born, not from the world, but from our own attachment to it. But the worst part, we don't even see it happening. We move through life on autopilot, chasing happiness without realizing that the chase itself is what makes us suffer. We think suffering is something that happens to us, but in reality, we create it. And here's the most powerful truth. If we create our suffering, then we also have the power to end it. The question is, how? How do we stop this cycle of craving and clinging? How do we let go? Not in a way that makes us numb or indifferent, but in a way that brings real freedom. That is the path the Buddha discovered. A way to step out of the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. A way to see reality clearly, to break free from suffering, not by avoiding life, but by understanding it completely. And that's what we're here to explore today. Not just philosophy, not just theory, but a way of living that can transform how you see the world and yourself forever. What if I told you that suffering is optional, that the endless chase, the constant cycle of wanting, getting, and losing doesn't have to define your life? That there is another way to exist, one that isn't ruled by craving, fear, or dissatisfaction. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about seeing reality clearly, perhaps for the first time. The Buddha didn't offer vague promises or supernatural solutions. He made a radical discovery. Suffering isn't caused by life itself. It's caused by how we relate to it. We suffer because we cling. We hold on to things, people, experiences, emotions, as if they are permanent, even when we know they are not. We crave more, even when we already have enough. And when reality doesn't match our expectations, we struggle, we resist, we suffer. But here's the truth. If we let go of attachment, suffering disappears. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, not because pain or loss stop existing, but because our minds no longer fight against reality. Instead of being caught in a storm of desire and fear, we find something far more powerful: peace. This state is called nirvana. It's not a place. It's not some distant mystical concept. It's a way of being. Imagine a mind that is no longer shaken by every little disappointment, a heart that is open but unburdened by fear, a peace so deep that no external force, no failure, no loss, no change can take it away. This is freedom. And the best part? It's not reserved for monks or saints. It's not something only a chosen few can reach. It's possible for anyone. including you. But how do we get there? How do we move from suffering to freedom, from restlessness to deep, unshakable peace? The answer lies in the path the Buddha walked, a path that has been followed for over 2,500 years, a path that doesn't require blind faith, only a willingness to see, understand, and awaken. And that's exactly what we'll explore next, because the key to ending suffering isn't found in the future, in some far-off dream. It's found right here, in this moment. You don't have to believe in miracles. You don't have to follow a guru. You don't have to rely on anyone else to save you. What you need is a path that is clear, a path that is practical, a path that leads to true freedom, not just in theory, but in your daily life. For over 2,500 years, millions have walked this path, transforming their minds, their actions, and their understanding of life itself. This path is called the Noble Eightfold Path. 8 simple yet profound steps. 8 keys to reshaping the way you experience the world. 8 ways to let go of suffering and find peace. Right here, right now. Let's explore them together. Right understanding. This is where it begins. Seeing the truth of life as it is. Understanding that everything is impermanent, that clinging brings suffering, that our actions have consequences. When we see clearly, we live wisely. Right thought. What we think shapes our reality. When our minds are filled with greed, anger, or delusion, our lives reflect that. But when we cultivate kindness, compassion, and wisdom, we create a world filled with peace. Right speech. Words have power. They can heal or harm, lift up or tear down. Right speech means speaking truthfully, kindly, and with intention. It means using our words to bring understanding, not division. Right action. Living with integrity, not harming others, not stealing, not acting out of hatred or selfishness. Right action is about aligning what we do with our highest values, so our lives become a force for good. Right livelihood. How we earn a living matters. Do we contribute to the well-being of others, or do we bring harm? Right livelihood means choosing work that is ethical, that supports life rather than destroys it. Right effort. Our minds are like gardens. If we do nothing, weeds of negativity will grow. But if we make an effort, consciously training our minds to let go of greed, anger, and ignorance, we cultivate wisdom and peace. Right mindfulness. The present moment is all we ever truly have, but how often do we really live in it? Right mindfulness means being fully here, fully awake, fully aware, whether we're eating, walking, or simply breathing. Right concentration, the ability to focus deeply, to steady the mind like a candle in the wind. Through meditation, we strengthen this focus, allowing us to see reality as it is, free from illusion. These 8 steps aren't rules. They're not commandments, they're not restrictions. They are a guide, a path toward wisdom, compassion, and liberation. You don't have to believe anything blindly. You don't have to take my word for it. Try it for yourself. See what happens when you bring awareness to your thoughts, when you choose kindness in your words, when you act with intention. The Noble Eightfold Path is not something far away. It is here, now, in every choice you make. So the question is, will you walk the path? We're told that happiness comes from success, from wealth, from achievement, from the perfect relationship. We chase after these things, believing that once we have enough money, enough recognition, enough love, then we'll finally be happy. But if that were true, why are so many successful people still unhappy? Why do so many who seem to have it all still feel empty inside? The truth is, we've been looking in the wrong place. The Buddha wasn't against pleasure. He wasn't against ambition. He wasn't against enjoying life. But he understood something that most people never realize. True happiness doesn't come from getting more. It comes from needing less. It's not about rejecting the world. It's not about running away from success or relationships or comfort. It's about shifting your mindset. Instead of chasing happiness, you cultivate it. Happiness isn't something out there waiting for you in the future. It's not hidden in a bigger bank account or a new title or someone else's love. It's here, right now. But to see it, you have to let go of the illusion. The illusion that one more achievement, one more possession, one more moment of pleasure will complete you. Because that search never ends. The more you chase, the more you suffer. Think about it. Have you ever wanted something so badly, believed that once you had it, your life would be perfect? And then, when you finally got it, the feeling faded. That's because external things were never the problem. Happiness isn't about what you have. It's about how you see. It's about learning to be at peace with what is, instead of always reaching for what isn't. Imagine this. You're walking outside on a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The air is fresh. But instead of enjoying it, your mind is elsewhere. Worried about tomorrow, regretting yesterday, chasing something that doesn't exist right now. What if you could just stop? What if you could fully experience this moment as it is? No resistance, no grasping, no wishing it were different. That's where happiness lives. Not in the next thing, not in the next accomplishment. Here, now. But how do you cultivate that? By practicing awareness, by training the mind to let go, by shifting from attachment to appreciation. When you stop chasing happiness, you start finding it everywhere, in a simple breath, in a quiet morning, in a shared moment of kindness. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Not because your life suddenly becomes perfect, not because you have everything you ever wanted, but because you finally see that you never needed more to begin with. The peace you've been searching for, it was always within you. Let's be real. Understanding something is one thing, living it is another. You can read about mindfulness. You can watch videos on inner peace. You can listen to endless teachings about letting go, but none of it matters unless you actually practice it. So here's a challenge for you. A simple experiment. 7 days to see if this path can shift your perspective. For the next week, don't just listen, try it. First, every day, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No distractions, no phone, no music. Just you and your mind. Observe your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. Watch how they come and go. Notice how you're not your thoughts. You're the awareness behind them. Second, pay attention to your cravings. What are you constantly chasing? A better job? More money? Someone else's approval? Every time you catch yourself reaching for something, pause. Ask yourself, will this bring lasting happiness or just another temporary high? Third, practice gratitude. Before you go to bed each night, list 3 things you're grateful for. Not big things, small moments. The warmth of the sun on your skin, a deep breath of fresh air, a kind word from a friend. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. Fourth, try mindfulness. Pick one simple activity, eating, walking, even just drinking a cup of tea, and be fully present. Taste each bite, feel each step. Notice the sensation of breath moving in and out of your body. It sounds simple, right? But don't underestimate it. Because these tiny changes, they have the power to rewire your entire experience of life. Most of us sleepwalk through our days, lost in thoughts, trapped in habits, chasing things that never truly satisfy. But Buddhism isn't just a philosophy, it's a practice, a way of seeing, a way of being, and the only way to know if it works is to try it. So for 7 days, commit to this practice, just 7 days, not to change your life overnight, not to become enlightened, but to wake up, to see things a little more clearly, to experience the present moment, not as something to get through, but as something to fully live. Because in the end, that's what this path is about. Not beliefs, not rituals, but presence, awareness, and the freedom that comes with it. The question is, are you willing to take the first step? So now, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? You've heard the teachings. You've glimpsed a different way of seeing the world. A way that doesn't rely on constant chasing, constant striving, constant attachment. But knowing is not enough. You can walk away, go back to life as usual, keep running the same race, searching for happiness in the same places, always reaching, never quite arriving. Or you can pause. You can start asking the real questions. What if happiness isn't something to be found in the future, but something to be uncovered in the present? What if peace isn't outside of you, but within you, buried beneath years of conditioning, fear, and craving? What if everything you've been looking for has been here all along, waiting for you to wake up? This is the choice. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to renounce the world or withdraw from life, but you can begin. You can start experimenting with mindfulness, with presence, with letting go. Just notice. Notice the way your mind clings to certain thoughts. Notice how desires arise, how emotions come and go, how your mind pulls you into the past or the future. And then, notice what happens when you stop resisting the present moment. Feel the weight of unnecessary suffering start to lift. Feel the space that opens up when you let go of needing things to be different. Feel the peace that was always there, hidden beneath the noise. Because at the end of the day, the path to enlightenment isn't about escaping life. It's about waking up to it, to reality, to yourself, to the incredible depth of each moment, exactly as it is. No more waiting, no more searching, no more postponing your happiness for some distant future. Your journey starts now, not tomorrow, not next year, now.